So we're gonna start talking numbers now. Everything is numbers, you know, the universe is numbers, flowers are numbers, trees are numbers, music is numbers. Everything comes down to that universal language, and there's a rhythm to numbers in things that we all consider beautiful, and those are the rhythms I've been searching and trying to use and prove that concept in every design I've done. So when you've got something as simple as this rectangular box to work with, you come back to those numbers, and those numbers are what make things look good and not look good. In this case, 2.7 is sort of the number, but 2.7 is 2.7 meters is a good number, a good width for a deck. Adds up a lot of things construction wise, but you know, 27 is 3 times 9, and 3 or 300 millimeters in the lovely metric system is a base unit of measurement that translates into so many other magic numbers. You know, 3, 6, 9, 12, 24. Those are all numbers that are used all the time in the construction industry and work really well with the human proportions. So 2.7 with that 3, the magic 3 number in it, is what was used in breaking down, you know, how you look at this outside and how it's separated. There's 2.7 there, there's 2.7 there. That's a 600 module on the end. Those relate back to the main house, which is 3 2.7 modules, decks 2.7, and a lot of these heights up here work off of 2.7 as well. You work on rhythms, you know, again with a small space. You don't want to confuse things. You want to work in the same unified mathematical system in plan and elevation. And it results in a space that's comfortable, people feel good in, people feel positive in, and they don't know why. And you know, numbers have everything to do with it. If you break down your favorite songs, they all break down into numbers, and those numbers have rhythms of symmetry and duplication and repetition and reuse. And those are the proportions that we've tried to put into these simple little houses. Okay, so if we look at, this is the elevation of the main house. These are those 2.7 modules here, and they work for structure as well as for the sort of laying out of the elevations. This is the back. Those are those 2.7 lines there. This is the side, and we've kind of created a square here on the side at 2.4 by 2.4, which is the width of the house. And the thing about proportions is you can be close, you know, you can be within sort of 50 mil if you're talking 2 to 3 meter proportional language, and it'll still sort of achieve the same effect. That 2.4 is important as well because, you know, that's our width that we live in, and so relating that in height as well brings those proportions into 3 dimensions inside the house. So we've set up a 3 rhythm. 3 again, magic number. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. All those relationships that work in the 1, 2, 3 scenario. It's the start of the Fibonacci series. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. And so on down the line. That's the 1 to 1.6 ratio, which we've got in the pod. But I'm really working with squares and double squares and rhythms. So, you know, these are the same size windows. Those are actually 6 squares. And that's a 2 relationship to a 3 relationship in the doors themselves, which are 2.4 and 2.4. So 2.4 is another magic number in the construction trade. It's what a lot of sheets are made out of, and to size 1.2 by 2.4. So 2.4 relates into things a lot. So those windows and doors, they're 2.4. Those are 2.4. Those are 2.4, which leaves 300 in the middle. 300 was that other magic number I mentioned before. That's sort of the building block of all the relationships here. That 2.7, depending on where you are, which is sort of a visually interesting component of these houses as well, is if you're starting at sort of floor level and what you're looking at is the deck, you set up a 2.4 relationship to the top of this first set of cladding. If you're looking at it from a side here, now all this cladding comes down past the frame, then it sets up a 2.7 relationship up here. So again, when you're starting with a cohesive set of numbers that dictate all your design moves, things just work out because you've sort of set up a proportional framework. And if you stick to that framework, when there's something you forgot about, chances are you'll be able to accommodate it. So we'll take those numbers and we'll put that in the pod. Oh, again, 2.7 times 3 is 8.1. So that's our 3 module house. It's starting to rain, so I'm going to talk quick. Here's the pod. So the pod is 2.7s, which gives you 5.4, but 6 meters is a very standard trailer size, and it's sort of a classic tiny home size, and that's what we wanted to work with. So we wanted our 2.7, but we wanted to get to 6 meters. Well, 6 meters is divided by 3 as well, so all we had to do is add a 600, which is, 2 times 300. So we stay within our proportional relationships, and we still achieve the 6 meters of size that we wanted. This one sets itself up quite nicely as well, because the 2.4 height, the 4.2 height, 4 by 6 is rapidly approaching that golden section of 1 to 1.6, the Fibonacci series that's found throughout nature. So that makes this sort of overall a nice happy proportion. And so that's how all our proportions relate to each other. They relate back to the deck, which is 2.7, and here's our 2.4. So that is going to conclude our design for today, as the rain has told me to shut up.